Not Nerd Podcast, episode 330. You're stuck with us.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I am Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Yes, Nate, I always love to learn to tech better.
Yes.
And that's why I keep you around. I mean, I'm not that big a fan of you, but your knowledge is incredible. So,
well, the feeling is mutual. So
excellent.
That's the secret to our success. Barely tolerating each other, but an appreciation for technology.
It's worth it.
Yes. Well, let us get into some follow-up. And I miss this one every stinking year. March 31st is World Backup Day, and we're recording this on April 3rd. And I'll see it like at the beginning of March, some little headline or something. Then I'm like, yes, I really need to promote World Backup Day this year. And then it's April already. But anyways, every day should be World Backup Day.
Right, Nate. And don't forget that this podcast and this episode specifically is brought to you by One Backup is None Backup. You can't move forward unless you back up. Behold the power of backup.
Wow.
I just love doing that so much.
Yes, thank you. So, there is worldbackupday.com, and they've got a lot of information there, and you can take the backup pledge. But I did notice there's a section on there, but why should I back up? Now, we bring this stuff up all the time, but losing your files is way more common than you'd think. One small accident or failure could destroy all the important stuff you care about. 21% of people have never made a backup. 113 phones are lost or stolen every minute. 29% of data loss cases are caused by accident. And 30% of all computers are already infected with malware.
I guess if you count all the PCs out there.
Well, yes. So it is a great reminder. We do recommend Backblaze, and you can go to notnerd.com/backup, or you can go to onebackupisnonebackup.com and get our little affiliate link. It is now $7 a month, which it used to be $6 a month. And a relative of mine that I had convinced, she's a photographer, convinced her to use Backblaze. She did not contact me, but did a post on Facebook saying, my backup service is $7 a month now. What should I do instead? And it's like, if you can't afford $7 a month to keep all your photos backed up, but it's all perception. I know it. There's people that'll spend $7 a day on coffee, but they won't spend $7 a month on backing up all their important files. So,
well, the interesting thing with your anecdote was this is a professional person, and it was $12 extra a year.
Yeah,
it's like, isn't that worth...
semi-professional, mostly amateur, but
still, that's a lot of work going into making those photos.
Yes, yeah. So, and I talked to another person this week, and this is a great little added insight on this. A person that we both know was having issues with her laptop connecting to Wi-Fi, and I had helped her in the past with her computer. So we got that figured out, but she had a list of questions to ask me before we were done with the conversation. And she said, well, I did the Backblaze on my computer, which you said. Do I also need to pay, and it's a Windows computer. You should have known that because it was having problems. But she also has an iPhone, and she was wondering if she should still pay for iCloud backup. And I said, well, you know what? In my opinion, your computer, if you want those files, you use Backblaze, pay $7 a month, and I think she's paying like $1.30 a month or whatever for iCloud. And I said, your phone, you probably want all that stuff backed up, even if you tried to back up all your phone all the time to your computer, and then that was backing up. If you lost your phone, you wouldn't have all the apps, and it's just $10 a month. You can have everything, all of your devices backed up. Mm-hmm. And I will say quickly too, on Backblaze, you might think, well, what kind of limits do they have? It is unlimited. On my spare PC, I think I have like 10 terabytes backed up to Backblaze on one $7 a month license. So please just go do it.
Just do it. That should be our slogan.
Yes.
Go do it.
Yeah. Go do it. One backup is none backup. Go do it. The shorter version of your full jingle. Well, on to the next important things in the world. I found this fun article, and I was talking to a friend of the show, Wes, who, when he was on, we were talking about Candy Crush. Well, I just happened to come across this article somewhere, and it is from EgyptToday.com. Do you subscribe to that one?
That's one I used to, but it went up $1 a month, so I bailed on it.
Well, maybe when you did back in 2019, you would have seen this article titled "Negative Effects of Electronic Games on Family Relations." Oh. So there was a 2018 report of the Cabinets Information Center. Egypt recorded the highest divorce rate in the world, which rose from 7 to 40% in the last 50 years. Now, here's the fascinating part. Unfortunately, the 2018 report that revealed that PlayStation and Candy Crush are the main reason behind divorce, with around 17,000 cases attributed to Candy Crush and 250,000 divorce cases to PlayStation.
Holy cow, they need to get Xbox in that country. Yeah. I see what the problem is.
Yes. Yeah. So it also talks about social media and stuff too. But yeah, 17,000 divorces just on Candy Crush.
That sounds so odd. So let me guess, one partner is playing too much and not paying attention to the other partner.
Yes.
And so they get mad, and that's just weird.
And that seems like maybe that would be more attributed to a symptom of a deeper issue in the marriage. Than the actual cause of it, but that was what people listed as the cause of their divorce.
Wow, that's crazy. So be careful out there, kids.
Yeah.
I mean, limit anything can become an addiction.
Yeah, and don't get married.
That's not exactly where I was going.
If you want to play Candy Crush or PlayStation, don't get married.
It's kind of like abstinence. It's like if you don't get married, you won't get divorced, right?
Yeah.
So
easy fix.
Man, I need to write a book.
Yes. Well, you'll love this one, Dave, from the Washington Post. Facebook paid GOP firm to malign TikTok.
Now, let me get this right. Somebody paid somebody to say bad things about something, like the TikTok is fat.
Yes.
TikTok's breath smells like garlic.
That was exactly it. So the firm Targeted Victory, which you didn't have to tell me it was a GOP firm with a name like Targeted Victory, pushed local operatives across the country to boost messages calling TikTok a threat to American children. Dream would be to get stories with headlines like "From Dances to Danger," one campaign director said.
Did that person, is English the first language?
It doesn't seem like it would be. So,
okay.
But yeah, basically the gist of the story, and this should be, well, hopefully it's no surprise to no one, but I wonder with people sometimes, but you hear these stories and I see headlines all the time of, new TikTok craze is harmful to children and all this stuff. Well, who would want those stories to come out? Facebook would, because then people won't use TikTok, and it goes both ways. But I will remind people we are the most nonpartisan tech podcast on the internet. With that, and this isn't even a partisan issue, people, please be critical of anything you read and try to think of who would be incentivized by putting out information against somebody and this
who
and
benefits.
That. Yes, which does bring me to the next story, which friend of the show, Jared, shared with us, and I saw it in several places. And the headline from The Verge is, "I'm done with Wyze."
Oh, no, not our beloved little camera company.
Yes. So the subheading, yes, that thing. I did not go to journalism school. Wyze new hackers could remotely access your camera for 3 years and said nothing. And then the first sentence of this article by Sean Hollister says, "I just threw my Wyze home security cameras in the trash. I'm done with this company." And then he goes through the article and got a bunch more information, and it wasn't necessarily as bad as he made it to be with that headline.
I was just saying it's a little sketch because it was version 1 cameras. And so Tyler and I were getting together going, oh, did this happen to us? But I didn't get into buying a Wyze camera until version 2.
Yeah.
And honestly, I have never seen a version 1 camera. Have you?
No.
I mean, those were the very original, probably Kickstarter cameras or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but the majority of the ones out there, I think, are version 2 and above.
Yes.
But
yes. So
I don't know.
Basically, the story is that people were made aware that there was this vulnerability in the Wyze Cam V1, and they didn't patch it, but they stopped selling the cameras. And I guess it was like 3 years ago, but they didn't really release information on it.
Which they should have.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yes, they should have. And I guess in a response from Wyze, they said that, they built the first camera and it just didn't have like the memory to do like a firmware upgrade to fix the issue or something like that. So they did not do things completely right, but completely writing off Wyze because of this issue. I mean, I'm not going to throw away my cameras. They're not V1s.
My opinion when I talked to Jared was I really like the Unify system that I've been using at work. And I have a Unify device here that runs our network.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not 100% compatible, but with a little bit of work, I could make it compatible with those IP cameras. And so I will continue to use Wyze cameras until they stop working, which will probably be quite some time. But when I do, I think I'm going to look at alternatives.
And
but I'm not.
How much are the Unify cameras?
Well, they sell a wireless camera very similar to the Wyze Cam. It's 1080p and you just plug it in and it works for $29.
Oh, wow.
And they have a 4K version of that camera for $100. So for roughly the same, $29, that's what the Wyze Cams cost now. So for the same money, I could have just 2 Unify cameras, but the infrastructure would need to be upgraded to support those.
Yes.
So, I mean,
there's some more costs there, but yeah, I think I was trying to think after that Facebook article who made sure this information got out. Was it Ring or one of the other competitors? But yeah, the vulnerability.
Tasty.
So they would have to get your unique identifier number that's 20 digits long or whatever, which they'd have to be on your network to get that, and then possibly remotely they'd be able to get access to the recordings on your SD card. So I don't see that it actually, that it was like a widespread, you could go download an application and start hacking people's Wyze cams.
No, it's very specific, and I don't think they could get on your network, but like you said, they could access data on your SD card. So they could basically look at what you've been recording, but that's about it.
Yeah. So
depending on what you've been recording, I mean.
Well, yes. My driveway, my CRV sitting in the driveway is riveting with my Wyze cam.
But some people do have them in their houses, in their living rooms, in their bedrooms. It's like, I don't know why they do, but.
Yes. Well, we've had quite a few stories about the Apple AirTag and how everybody's stalking with them, and you're probably being stalked right now with an Apple AirTag and all that stuff. Well, I saw this story from Schneier on Security, one of the premier security bloggers. Police reportedly arrived on the scene last week and found the man crouched beside the woman's passenger side door. According to the police, the man had, at some point, wrapped his Apple Watch across the spokes of the woman's passenger side front car wheel and then used the watch to track her movements. When police eventually confronted him, he admitted the watch was his. Now he's reportedly being charged with attaching an electronic tracking device to the woman's vehicle.
So my first thought was, how did that watch survive being spun at thousands of RPMs?
And how many steps did he get for that?
Yeah.
That was the best workout day ever. He filled his rings with that one. And like we say every time we talk about the AirTags, it's like, if people want to do stalking, they're going to figure out a way to do stalking, whether it's with an AirTag, an Apple Watch, an iPhone, some Amazon device that's not trackable, all these different things. Like an Apple Watch, just not a real great way to do it. stalking, really not a great thing to do anyways. So
no, you shouldn't do that.
yeah, so avoid stalking. And it does, say he's being charged. And I'm guessing in many locations there are laws against attaching an electronic tracking device to a vehicle. So, yes.
Well, I think, to a vehicle doesn't belong to you. If you have a fleet of vehicles that make deliveries, it's okay to do it there.
Yes,
but
yes.
Attaching it to someone else's
unknown without consent
with the purpose of tracking them without their knowledge is certainly the only thing I want to know about, or the only discussion I want to have about stockings is related to Christmas. And
yes,
that's it.
Yes. That is the stockings that we should be focused on.
Of course.
Well, and I don't know who needs to hear this besides me, but we're at April 3rd and tax day is coming up.
Thank you for the reminder. I should absolutely start that.
Yes. Maybe next week on the episode, we'll do a live stream of us doing our taxes.
Ooh, that would be so exciting.
Riveting. Yes. But this article from ProPublica, and I know we've mentioned this in years past, filing taxes could be free and simple, but H&R Block and Intuit are still lobbying against it.
Yes, this lobbyists should make everyone angry.
Yes.
Because they take their efforts to prevent consumers and Americans from benefiting from many things at the interest of large companies. So H&R Block and Intuit are, paying off people so that they can stay in business, which means Americans are going to pay them millions upon millions of dollars for help with this very complicated taxes. And it doesn't have to be that way, but welcome to politics.
Yes. Yeah. Between the two companies, they spent around $5 million lobbying last year, with a good portion going spent on legislation that would permanently bar the government from offering taxpayers pre-filled returns.
So this is where someone like Elon Musk, who's kind of the defender of humanity at this point, and he could turn at any minute. So don't, don't put all your eggs in that basket. But $5 million to him doesn't seem like a lot of money.
No.
Could he not counter lobby Congress to say, get rid of these jokers and make it good for taxpayers? You'd think that would be worth some effort by somebody who has the means to do so.
Especially somebody that, what did he pay a month or so back? $13 billion in taxes.
Yeah.
But so that one is frustrating. But you know what's not frustrating? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Well, let's hope I can end some of those frustrations.
Yes.
I was working with some of our dear friends and listeners, Chris and Carolyn, this week. And before I left, Chris says, hey, I got a question on my phone. I used to be able to see calendar events and add calendar events to my family's calendar. And I'm like, well, that's wonky.
Yeah.
Like, if you did it before, what's changed? Well, I'll tell you what changed. There was an update to the operating system. I understand why Apple does this, but at the same time, I don't understand, because millions upon millions upon millions of users are probably experiencing similar frustrations. Due to privacy reasons, every time there is a software update and they change the privacy policies or whatever, they disable a bunch of iCloud services. And so you have to go into your settings on your iPhone, and let's just do so now, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So if you head into settings, and on newer devices that are upgraded, you would click on your name at the top of the settings. Mine coincidentally says David Baylor. So I'm going to click there, and inside there you will see an iCloud tab. If you click on iCloud, you'll be confronted with a long list of items, depending on how many apps you have, with little check switches next to them. And if you are experiencing not being able to sync your calendars, it's likely that the calendar section in your iCloud settings is turned off. It always happens to me with messages, and I've mentioned it before. If your messages aren't syncing from your computer to your phone to your iPad, it's because there's been an update to Apple's privacy policy, and they've switched those things off, because turning the feature on explicitly gives them permission to enable their privacy policy upon your data. If it's turned off, you're not storing any data on their servers, so there's no consent needed. So switching that switch to on gives Apple consent to look at your data or store your data or encrypt your data or whatever it is the privacy policy would say. I have no idea because I've never read it, not even one time. But if you too at home are experiencing problems with your iOS device not syncing, go into the iCloud setting for certain Apple applications that use iCloud to store data. And that's probably where your problem is.
Yes. Another thing you can check if it's just like one calendar, if you have a bunch, is just in settings, scroll down to calendar and make sure that all of your accounts are active in there that you want to show up for your...
Yeah, we checked that he was a member of the calendar.
Yes.
We checked that it was turned on. We checked all these things. And I said, well, give me, I have one idea. And that fixed the problem.
Very nice. Well, let us move on to our takes of the week. This past week was April Fool's, and I was kind of hoping this was an April Fool's joke, but it seems to be real, and it's been in the works for a long time. The Dyson Zone are noise-canceling, air-purifying headphones.
Tell me more.
So it basically, if you have you've got like your over-the-ear big noise-canceling headphones. Then you also have kind of a built-in mask-looking type thing that is air purifying.
Oh, I thought that was Tony Stark with his Iron Man helmet.
Yes, not so lucky. So this is one of those things where I do like when we can combine things and put them into one thing and it makes life easier. I don't like I guess if you're flying, is that the use case for this?
Or just walking about in life and going into stores.
Yeah, and they do say that it is for battling air pollution. City air can be high in pollutants from industrial emissions to car exhausts. And in public spaces, air can also contain higher levels of bacteria and allergens.
Now, if this little face mask headphone combo isn't sealed against your mouth and nose, isn't pollution and allergens getting into your lungs anyway? How does it work specifically? Does it completely seal around your mouth and nose?
It
doesn't look like it in the pictures.
I mean, Dyson does do some cool things, so I'm sure they've got it figured out. But yeah, somehow it moves the air around. I'm trying to look at this little diagram. It looks like the air comes in through the headphones, filters, and then comes into the mouth and nose area.
Oh, and it just kind of flows, kind of like an oxygen mask might just flow into your nostrils.
But the thing is, if I know anything, I know that Dyson are not cheap, like their vacuum cleaners and their other products. So it doesn't seem like these are going to be a cheap. It's a weird one. 600 or wait, no, here's some pricing. They're just their standard air purifiers, $300. Well, it doesn't look like we have pricing, but they're saying maybe $650.
Nate, if you have to ask how much they cost, you can't afford it.
No, so I'm going to quickly move on, but yes, they are weird looking, and if you're interested in that, check them out.
What's wrong with those paper things that we've been wearing?
Yeah. Well, they don't have noise-canceling headphones built in.
I guess, of course.
Duh.
I knew there was something.
Yes, there was one reason. So this one's a little more on the business side than we usually do, but Apple, we love talking about Apple, has launched their Business Essentials service.
Yes, and I tried to get in on the beta of this.
Okay.
And, I think our accounting person was supposed to send them our tax ID number or whatever, and I don't think she ever did. But too late. It's already here. Anybody can use it now. So what this is similar to a service that I use at work called Jamf. It's the stupidest name ever. I'm sure there's a reason or a history, but JAMF. It's one of these device management services. And what you basically do is download a profile to your workers' computers. And that profile can do various things like restrict certain websites or automatically connect you to your internal Wi-Fi, or they can track the device if it's stolen, or they can wipe it remotely, much like you can do as an individual, this is for deployment against multiple computing devices. And Jamf happens to work specifically with Macintosh computers, so that's why we use it.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited that Apple is launching this service, because I would honestly rather work just with Apple on this type of thing versus having to go through a third party, because it's not perfect. And you have to once a year connect back to Apple services and download a certificate and upload a certificate. It's very simple, but it's also very obvious that this is outside of Apple's regular stuff.
Yes.
They bless it, but it's not very well integrated with Apple services, is all I have to say. And this is. And so what do you know about it?
Yeah, so from this article from sixcolors.com and Jason Snell, it's pretty brief, and they had announced it, like you said, and had it in beta, but it's designed for businesses between 50 and 500 employees in size. And so then there's per user pricing starting at $3 per month and increases based on the number of devices and amount of iCloud storage allotted to individual users. Then there's also Apple Care Plus. So it's kind of a one-stop support shop for your business's Apple devices. So like if everybody had a laptop, an iPad, and an iPhone, for the business, they could all be covered under this and have the iCloud storage, and you can do some of the remote management tools and stuff like that. So,
and I think it even kind of works with people's personal. I think it separates out with their personal iCloud stuff and the business iCloud stuff. So you could potentially, if I'm reading it correctly, have your own phone enrolled in this program and take advantage of work's extra storage, but you could still maintain your own messages and your own applications and those type of things. And so it kind of manages that stuff as well. So I'm excited to at least try it out. But we don't quite have 50 employees, but we do have more than 50 devices that we would want to manage.
Yeah, so they can, like you were talking about with Jamf, you can have settings be automatically pushed, VPN configurations, Wi-Fi passwords, all of that stuff. So if you fall into that category of lucky to be at an Apple-focused business, I think it's a really good thing.
Very, very cool.
Our next one, I am filing this under not news. And the headline alone we were discussing before the show just tells you that what does this even mean? Windows 11 may not be as popular as Microsoft had hoped.
Yeah, there's a lot of contingencies in this sentence. So Windows 11 may not, but it also may.
Yes.
And how do they know how do you measure this? What are the metrics in what Microsoft had hoped?
Yeah. So, and I have mentioned in the past, there's really no reason to upgrade to Windows 11 if you're on Windows 10. It does change the layout and stuff, and from the few users that I've worked with that have switched over to Windows 11, they're like, it's a little confusing, but it seems basically the same. And but a lot of computers now, they're really pushing out the updates where it'll be like you restart your computer and all of a sudden it's upgrading for half an hour and then you're on Windows 11. But yeah, it's not bad. Windows 11 is not bad, but I don't see any reason to push to it. And I mean, famously, there's still a lot of computers on Windows XP, a lot on Windows 7. The headline of this should have been, people don't really like change, so not everybody's using Windows 11 yet. That should be the headline.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yes.
But that doesn't sell papers.
It wouldn't have got us to click to techradar.com. Well, a security and privacy story this week. This is an interesting one. I heard some discussion, I believe, on some podcasts I listen to. There's a lot of them. Hackers increasingly are using compromised government and police department email accounts to obtain sensitive customer data from mobile providers, ISPs, and social media companies. Today, one of the U.S. Senate's most tech-savvy lawmakers said he was troubled by the report and is now asking technology companies and federal agencies for information. So what it looks like is happening is there's emergency data requests that, you could say, T-Mobile, I need this person's phone records. Well, as we've talked many times in the past, government technology systems aren't always the most secure. So if somebody can hack in to a police department's email system, then they could send these EDRs and get this information about somebody. Now, I will mention Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon. He has been on this, and it feels like he's been kind of on a lot of the technology stuff, which I don't know enough about Ron Wyden. He's been our senator for like 200 years now, and he lives in New York. But other than that, I don't know much about him. But yeah, so another interesting way that crooks are looking to get information.
They'll never stop. All we can do is, one, make good backups, since it is World Backup Day a few days ago, and use common sense when using the internet.
Yes, yes. Well, after that, let's move on to our bonus odd take. This one I heard on the MacBreak Weekly podcast, I believe, and it's savethesounds.info. And when you go to the page, there's a little pop-up that says, "Hi there, welcome to the Museum of Endangered Sounds. Click a thumbnail to take a listen down memory lane. Click the thumbnail again to turn it off and play another. Or if you like industrial music, try turning on all the thumbnails at once." So the first one on the list will be a blast for a past for some people. Do you recognize that sound, Dave?
I do. It's actually here on my screen, but that is AOL Instant Messenger.
Yes.
I believe they've rebranded to Facebook Messenger. Is that correct?
Yes, something like that. It is long gone.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
The Mac warning sound. Movie can.
Just that it's a film, running film.
Yes. Yes, we've got asteroids or Space Invader. Oh, there it is. There's the Space Invader sound.
Oh, yeah. There you go. You know what, though? There are arcades all over the place that have that sound. That's
yeah, that one's still holding on. Nintendo cartridge, typewriter. So they just have a bunch of payphone, cassette tapes, rotary phones, all these old sounds. So another one of these just random obscure sites that...
I think this is a good idea, because these items are no longer in existence. And so for future generations to be able to experience them, this is a great way.
Yes.
Because you can always look at a picture, but what did it sound like? What did it feel like? What did it,
Yeah. And like he said, you can turn them all on and make some music out of it. So.
Oh, boy.
Let's see how many I can turn on. New theme song.
Perhaps. I like it.
And a bonus pro tip, if you're using the Brave browser like I am, on this tab there is a very nice little mute tab button that you can instantly turn off the songs for that browser tab. And most browsers have some way to mute specific tabs, which is very nice. Or you can like right click and mute a site. So like I'll usually keep YouTube.com muted so that if I click on any YouTube links, that it won't just start blasting out the sound, as I often am trying to watch YouTube videos while we're recording the podcast.
Of course,
I get a little bored during those pro tips of the week.
I hear you.
No offense, Dave. No offense, but yeah, a fun little site. He's got a little information, and he's trying to capture more sounds, and he founded the Peleus research team at Chattanooga State Community College as a freshman. He has 8 gerbils. And this is going to be a shocker. When I'm not collecting sounds, my hobbies include video games. Yes, because half of your sounds are related to video games. Information, web design, and Thai yoga.
There's one sound here I find bizarrely absent, and that's the sound of one hand clapping.
Oh, yes.
Where's that one?
I don't see it on there. Oh, the dial-up internet. That's a classic.
Oh,
the
that's
TV
classic.
Snow, the Nokia ringtone, Pac-Man, dot matrix printers. Yes, a lot of nostalgia. It might be trigger. He should have a trigger warning on here of painful technology memories with some of these sounds.
Fax machine.
Yes, writing a report on a typewriter and all that good stuff. Well, you know what else is good stuff? Our picks of the week.
So, Nate, I finally did it.
Yes?
I did it. What did I finally do? I saw the Oscar-winning Best Picture Coda on Apple TV Plus.
Nice.
And I think I mentioned either on this podcast or the other one we were on that I'm always a little hesitant to watch some movies just because I think they're going to be about one thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't want to sit and watch this family interact. The whole movie's going to take place in their living room, and it's all going to be in subtitles because they're using sign language. And it was not like that at all.
Yeah.
It was delightful.
Nice.
It was the story kept going along. It was heartwarming, relatively clean. There were some swearing signs.
Oh.
Where you can swear in using sign language.
Oh.
But outside of that, it was really incredible. And I don't know if it deserved Best Picture or if one of the actors deserved Best Supporting Actor, but all I know is it was a good movie. And if you have access to Apple TV Plus, you should give it a watch because it was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So that's my pick of the week.
Nice. I should watch that. Well, my pick of the week, I don't know if you've noticed, Dave, but gas prices have gone up.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you, I know you walk mostly and don't believe in vehicles.
What I typically do is I drive up to the little pump here in Oregon and I hand my little rectangle plastic thing to a person. They do their thing, whatever poor people who work at gas stations do. And then they hand me my little magic card back and then I go about my day. So
yes.
I hardly notice anything.
Yeah, yes.
No,
yes.
I am just kidding. I have noticed, and I actually make my trek to Costco to get gas because it seems to be a little bit cheaper there than elsewhere.
Yes, yeah. So I looked, and I don't see that we've ever mentioned this app on the podcast, but it's been around for a long time, and I feel like we should have talked about it at some point.
I think we have, but who knows?
Yes, it didn't come up in the Google site search, but it is GasBuddy. It's what you think. It has all the local gas stations and people can report gas prices. So I can pull this up and see, like the 3 closest gas stations where there's a 26-cent difference per gallon between them.
And is this a free app? Is this the one with the logo that looks like this?
Yes. It is a free app. They do have, like I'm getting in a Fred Meyer's ad on mine, and on the homepage it said it's brought to me by Taco Bell. Taco Bell, Live Moss. But yeah, and they have some other stuff you can do in here. They have like some rewards stuff. You can get like a rewards card. They're doing some stuff for Ukraine. And they have some tips on poor driving habits, and you can stay safe with the car profile. So they've kind of built it out, but I just find it interesting to go look and see what the different gas prices are. But I will also say, from a holistic cost perspective, if it's a 30-cent per gallon, let's just say you need 10 gallons of gas, that's a $3 difference. So if you're going to Costco and you get gas at Costco, that makes sense. But if you drive an hour out of your way round trip to save 30 cents on a gallon, was your hour worth $3? But that's my little, because I've known people in the past that, they would drive all the way across town to save 10 cents on a gallon of gas. And I'm like, what is that? Is that really, how much gas did you use to get there? Is it even going to make a difference? But,
well, it's kind of on my way to work.
Yes.
So it's not that big a deal, but like right now at the 76 station nearby here, $4.79 a gallon. This is going to age like milk.
Yes.
A year from now. Chevron's $4.99. Can you believe it?
Yes.
But Costco squarely sitting at $4.29.
Yes.
So
and that Chevron
a gallon.
Yes, that Chevron by your house, I actually drove by it one day, and as things were really ramping up, they were actually at $5.29 for a while.
Holy cow.
And I think they realized that was kind of the breaking point for people, so they have been at $4.99 ever since.
Yeah, it is interesting that it's like 3 blocks from the other one, and it is 20 cents a gallon more expensive. And I think that's because it's right on the highway.
Yes.
Location.
And I do have a little bonus pick that is related, and I heard this advertised on some podcasts. Now, I will say that I haven't actually used it, but I do have it installed and I've looked at it, but I just have forgotten. I haven't gotten in the habit. It's called GetUpside. And so you open up the app and it says top nearby fuel offers. So the 376 stations are showing up as having offers. And it is saying that I can get 48 cents or between 42 cents and 56 cents per gallon cash back at these gas stations. So you have an offer, you claim it, you go in there, you tap check in when you make the purchase, what card you used. So I do have a little bit of hesitation of I don't know what kind of tracking these people are doing, but
it's just a coupon app.
Yes. But saving 50 cents a gallon on gas could be a good, helpful thing for people. So if you do use that one, and I'll try to use it if I can remember, they also do, like there's some restaurant deals, like you can get 7% cash back at Papa John's, and some other offers like that. But they're focused on the gas because a lot of people are focused on gas prices right now. But yeah, GetUpside. So you can check that out and see. And I might even have like a link to put in the show notes where I get like a extra bonus. Invite friends. Oh,
I'm still trying to figure out the naming convention. What does that mean? GetUpside? Everything else was taken?
Yes. So yeah, with my referral link, it'll say I get 1 cent per gallon each time my friends buy gas, and I get a 15 cent per gallon one-time bonus on my next offer.
Whoa. 15 cents?
Yeah, on top of the 50 cents that I'm already getting off. So it seems like there's some good value. There's some little tiny red flags that are like, okay, what's the deal here? Why are they giving me all of these great deals?
Well, it's
like what's the benefit for them? Yeah. But it might just be one of those things where they're trying to create this sustainable thing and it'll last for a while and then it'll just disappear because it wasn't sustainable.
Or the purpose was to steal all your data and they've already stolen it. So see you later.
There you go. So if it is worth having all your data stolen to save a little bit of money on gas, check out GetUpside. I think that's their official slogan.
Yeah.
But I did want to mention that one since I had heard of it. And I know that I am fortunate that I don't have to do a ton of driving. But for people that do have to drive a lot, those gas prices sure do add up.
And some people don't have the luxury of living in a nice house in a nice neighborhood and they're struggling, and that 15 cents might actually make a difference.
Yes, financially. Their holistic cost is factored a little differently than mine when it comes to gas prices.
Yes.
Well, with that, we will wrap up this episode at a little bit of a slower news period here. I feel like it's probably going to start picking up again, but there's always tech stories to talk about. Technology is just everywhere. So as you can see from this episode, there's going to be something to talk about forever. So you're stuck with us.
You're stuck.
Yeah, but get a friend stuck on us. And then everybody can get out there and tech better.
And I'm on my way. Stuck on you. Man, the music and the vocals match perfectly.
Yeah.
It was so perfect, I'll probably get a copyright strike.
Yeah, true. Oh, there it is.